What happens when two of the UFC's most outspoken fighters refuse to let an online feud die? Sean Strickland and Manel Kape are once again trading insults, and this time the argument has escalated into accusations, personal attacks, and even PED allegations. Meanwhile, Conor McGregor is making massive promises ahead of his long-awaited return, claiming he's entering the prime of his career and predicting a dominant finish over Max Holloway. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Fight Update. Sean Strickland and Manel Kape are once again going back and forth on social media. Recently, we covered how the feud reignited after Strickland criticized Manel Kape's manager, Ali Abdelaziz. The argument quickly escalated after Strickland referenced Abdelaziz's past, leading Kape to jump into the conversation to defend his manager. But instead of cooling off, the exchange only became more personal. Kape responded by writing, "The problem is you've convinced yourself you're a tough guy. You're not. You were the one getting pushed around. You're an insecure guy who found confidence through MMA and now mistakes a microphone for courage. Stop acting like a tough guy. Deep down you know exactly who you are." Sean wasn't about to let that slide. He fired back by saying, "You're an insecure guy who found confidence through MMA. Yeah, pretty much. Kind of ironic coming from someone who got caught with PEDs. I worked hard. You cheated, and now you act like we're the same. We're not." The exchange continued when a fan defended Strickland, saying nobody could seriously question his toughness. Sean responded with one of the more honest comments of the discussion, writing, "There is a little truth to that. The difference is, who I am and who I want to be are very different. I have a choice in who I am now versus who I was at 4 years old." As soon as performance-enhancing drugs entered the conversation, the feud escalated once again. For those who may not remember, back in 2022, Manel Kape returned a test that detected trace amounts of the long-term metabolite of dihydrochloromethyltestosterone, commonly known as DHCMT. His scheduled fight with Sumu Derji was cancelled as a result. However, Kape was never suspended. Responding to Strickland's accusations, Kape wrote, "So according to you, the UFC, USADA, and Sport International have all been helping me cheat? Interesting theory." But Strickland doubled down instead of backing away. He replied, "You had trace amounts in your system. Even if you're clean now, which is questionable, you clearly cheated your way to the UFC. How many careers did you ruin before the UFC because you're a cheater? Those are the facts." Kape answered one final time, "The careers I ruined were with talent and natural knockout power, something you'll never have. That's why you scream PEDs every time someone hits harder than you. You couldn't even knock out a YouTuber. Take all the PEDs in the world and you'll still have pillow fists." Surprisingly, after all the insults, the two ended the exchange on a slightly lighter note. Sean simply replied, "Relax, have a good one." To which Kape answered, "I'm always relaxed. Have a good one."
God, I wonder what is that? I mean, I know getting blacked out, that's sad. It's sad because he's just probably going through some. You retire from fighting, you kind of retire, you're the man, you lose the crazy fight against Max Holloway for your retirement fight, and now you're watching big moments like Justin Gaethje win the belt in the crazy fashion, and you can't help but think, what about me? And it's sad. Not that that's what that's not the case for sure, but
Whether this rivalry is actually over remains to be seen. But knowing both fighters, there's a good chance we'll be hearing from them again very soon. Meanwhile, Conor McGregor is continuing to build anticipation for his return against Max Holloway. While many fans remain skeptical about whether McGregor can still perform at the level that made him a two-division champion, Conor doesn't seem to share any of those doubts. Speaking during UFC on Paramount coverage, McGregor predicted a dominant performance and said he plans to finish Holloway this time around, rather than winning another decision. According to Conor, "It's going to be a demolition, an absolute demolition. I know the damage he's taken. I know I'll only have to touch him, and after that it'll be clinical." He continued by saying that simply winning isn't enough. According to McGregor, the victory has to be spectacular. Perhaps the boldest statement came when Conor claimed he believes he's only now entering the prime of his career despite approaching 38 years old. He acknowledged Holloway's toughness and experience, but insisted that he holds the advantage in virtually every important category. McGregor said he has superior speed, power, fight IQ, conditioning, health, and freshness. One particularly interesting comment involved Holloway's incredible amount of time spent competing inside the octagon. Conor pointed out that Max has accumulated more than 8 hours of cage time during his UFC career, and suggested that it reflects an inability to consistently finish opponents.
People in the community, people that know fighting, know how skilled Peter Yan is. He's as good as it gets at MMA. He's up there with Ilia Topuria level skill. John Jones, like he's all around. He's great everywhere.
Whether fans agree with that assessment is another story. Do you think Conor will actually have the speed advantage against Holloway after such a long layoff? Or will Holloway's activity and momentum prove to be the deciding factor? McGregor also made it clear that he's more than willing to challenge Justin Gaethje in the future if the opportunity presents itself. According to Conor, the extended time away from competition has actually benefited him. He believes the rest has allowed his body to fully recover, leaving him fresher than many of the top fighters currently competing. Finally, Charles Oliveira revealed during a recent interview with Action Network that he was originally expected to face Conor McGregor. According to Oliveira, McGregor ultimately chose to fight Max Holloway instead. Oliveira also shared his thoughts on that matchup. In his opinion, McGregor needs to find an early finish, because if the fight extends into the later rounds, Holloway's pace, movement, and cardio could become major factors. With fight night approaching, anticipation continues to build for one of the biggest rematches in UFC history. Here's what Charles Oliveira had to say. He actually asked for the fight to be 3 rounds, and he picked the opponent because everyone knows that fight was originally supposed to be against me. But that's part of the game. You've got to choose what you believe is the best matchup for yourself. Honestly, I think the first round is going to tell us everything. Max is a guy who's been fighting 5-round main events consistently. He knows exactly how to manage his pace over 25 minutes. Conor, on the other hand, has been inactive for a long time. If he doesn't score a knockout or completely dominate early, I think the later rounds begin to favor Max because of his speed, conditioning, and the fact that he won't have to deal with a difficult weight cut. But at the same time, Conor is one of the men who changed this sport forever. He helped take MMA to another level. The arena is going to be packed, and it's going to be a magical atmosphere.
I don't think Ilia Topuria ever comes back the same. His whole mindset, his whole ego, know what I mean? Like his is like, I'm undefeated, no one can beat me. Having celebrations the night before the fight. I just don't think he'll ever be the same. He's never had to come back from nothing like that. I've had to face adversity before, so I'd happily be his first fight back.
And during that same interview with Johnson,
it's an interesting point from Oliveira. Many fans believe the first 5 minutes could determine the entire fight. If McGregor starts fast and lands clean, Holloway could be in trouble. But if Max survives the early storm and begins to build momentum, his relentless pace could become a major advantage as the fight progresses. Now let's move on to some quick UFC updates. With UFC Baku taking place this weekend, several news stories have emerged across the MMA world. According to MMA Fighting's Guilherme Cruz, welterweight Carlston Harris has officially been released from the UFC following his unanimous decision loss to Jake Matthews at UFC Macau. That defeat marked Harris's 3rd consecutive loss and dropped his overall UFC record to 4-4. Considering the recent skid, the decision isn't particularly surprising, although many fans appreciated the exciting fights Harris brought to the Octagon during his time with the promotion. Meanwhile, the betting odds heavily favored Dricus du Plessis ahead of his upcoming fight against Kamaru Usman on July 18th. However, Jorge Masvidal clearly disagrees with those odds. Speaking during Paramount's Deep Water show, Masvidal argued that Usman is still one of the best welterweights in the world and believes many fans are writing him off far too early. Masvidal said, "I don't think he's washed at all. I thought he was clearly winning the second Leon Edwards fight before getting caught. Then he fought Khamzat Chimaev on about 10 or 11 days' notice, and honestly, I thought he won that fight too. Then he fought Buckley and looked phenomenal. So no, I don't think he's anywhere near finished. I think he can still compete for a world title. In fact, I think Dricus almost has to fight a perfect fight to beat him. Usman beats him 3 or 4 times out of 5. He's just too complete everywhere. It's certainly a bold prediction, especially considering Du Plessis's recent performances. Do you agree with Jorge Masvidal? Or do you think Dricus deserves to be such a heavy betting favorite? Another fight that fans continue talking about is a potential rematch between Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan. Whether or not that fight gets booked remains to be seen, but one thing is becoming clear. Sean O'Malley has a tremendous amount of respect for Yan's abilities. During a recent appearance on One Night with Steiny, O'Malley praised the former champion and acknowledged just how dangerous Yan remains. Here's what Sean had to say. And finally, Sean O'Malley also reacted to the recently released body cam footage involving Dustin Poirier's arrest. After watching the footage, O'Malley shared his thoughts on the situation and gave his honest reaction. Check out the clip. And finally, PFL has officially announced that Cris Cyborg's next fight will be the final bout of her legendary career. The promotion confirmed on social media that Cyborg will defend her featherweight championship one last time against Ketlin Vieira in the main event of PFL's August 22nd event in Tampa. If this truly is the end, it will mark the conclusion of one of the greatest careers in women's MMA history. Cyborg has competed at the highest level for well over a decade, collecting championships across multiple major organizations and cementing herself as one of the most dominant female fighters the sport has ever seen.
America's champ here, and I've been getting a lot of feedback about my take on the Dustin Poirier situation. I hear you guys, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Dustin is wrestling personal demons and his intrusive racist thoughts. And I'll be wrestling Arman Sarukian at Real American Freestyle live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, July 18th, only on Fox Nation. Arman, you're a spoiled little brat. You've had everything handed to you in life, and now it's time for me to hand you an whooping, Junior. I'll see you in Milwaukee, and hopefully you bring that Jezebel Nina drama. Tell her to take a break from selling farts in a jar to freaks on the internet and come stream America's champ serving up some humble pie to her little Armenian lover boy.
Meanwhile, one of the UFC's biggest stars has made a major business move ahead of UFC 330. Ian Machado Gary has officially signed with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom talent agency. As many fans know, this is the same agency that heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall joined earlier this year. With another high-profile UFC fighter now partnering with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn continues expanding his influence within mixed martial arts. Following the announcement, Gary shared his excitement on Instagram, writing, "Congratulations, Matchroom Talent Agency. You've signed the future. I'm excited to announce Team Future just got bigger. Alongside Vayner Sports, I'll be joining Matchroom Talent Agency, who will now work across my commercial interests." Shortly after the announcement, Eddie Hearn appeared on the Ariel Helwani show to explain exactly what the partnership involves. According to Hearn, the relationship with Ian Gary is very different from the one Matchroom has with Tom Aspinall. While Matchroom has been involved in helping Aspinall with broader career opportunities, Hearn clarified that Gary's agreement is focused entirely on growing his commercial profile and expanding his brand outside of competition. Hearn explained, "The news is huge because we've signed Ian Machado Gary to Matchroom Talent Agency, joining Tom Aspinall as our second UFC fighter. We're a sports agency representing global stars across sports and entertainment. What attracted us to Ian was his personality, his confidence, and his ability to communicate. I've believed for a long time that he has all the qualities needed to become a global superstar. This partnership is about building his profile, creating commercial opportunities, and helping grow his brand around the world." Ian Gary also joined Ariel Helwani's show and spoke about why he believes this partnership is an important step in expanding his name, particularly across Europe. As expected, the conversation didn't stop there. It wasn't long before Eddie Hearn once again turned his attention toward fighter pay in the UFC. As we've previously covered, Sean O'Malley recently revealed that he earned roughly $600,000 for his fight against Ayman Zahabi at the UFC White House event. Using that figure as an example, Hearn criticized the UFC's payment structure and argued that elite fighters deserve significantly more compensation. He also questioned why more athletes aren't publicly pushing for better financial terms. Here's the clip.
Yeah, I'm very happy firstly, to announce that I've signed with the Matchroom Talent Agency. I think it's very big for me and my brand, and I'm very excited. It all came about a couple of months ago. The interest came, they reached out to me and my team, and I love the idea of working with them. I have a lot of respect for them and what they've done in the sporting industry. And the fact that they opened up a talent agency, I saw so many avenues to potentially grow my brand in England, Ireland, and focus on Europe. And I thought it was a no-brainer. When they reached out, I love it. I love the idea of it.
And while discussing Matchroom's growing presence in MMA, Hearn also gave an interesting update regarding Tom Aspinall. According to Eddie, Matchroom has already secured commercial partnerships for the UFC heavyweight champion that generate more income than some of his actual fight purses. If true, it highlights just how valuable sponsorships and business opportunities outside the Octagon can become for today's biggest stars. With Matchroom continuing to add major names like Tom Aspinall and Ian Machado Gary, it'll be interesting to see whether even more UFC fighters decide to explore similar opportunities in the future. According to Eddie Hearn, Tom Aspinall is now earning more money outside the Octagon than he is from actually fighting inside it. Hearn explained, "He's making more money now outside of the Octagon than he's making in it commercially. He's already generated well over 7 figures through sponsorships and commercial deals. His CloudBet partnership, another major deal that's about to be announced, his podcast, his social media numbers, everything is growing incredibly fast. Right now, with everything happening around him, Tom is one of the most talked about fighters on the entire UFC roster."
But that he wants to fight Charles again and get that win back, and he wants to fight Holloway again and get that win back. That's why I think Charles could be next, because he could unify the BMF and lightweight title. And if Holloway wins against McGregor, that sets it up perfectly for that also. So you never know. I just don't think he retires, to be honest. I think he's got another couple of fights left in him, and I don't think anyone wants Justin Gaethje to retire, you know what I mean? Even though we punched my head in, lad, we all love Justin Gaethje.
Oh, 1000%.
If those numbers are accurate, it shows just how valuable a strong personal brand can become for today's biggest stars. For elite fighters, success is no longer measured only by championship belts and fight purses. The biggest names are now building businesses that continue generating income long after the fight is over. Hearn also revealed another interesting update regarding Aspinall's future. According to him, Tom's father and longtime coach Andy Aspinall has already informed the UFC that Tom is ready to return. Negotiations are expected to continue soon, as both sides work toward finalizing his next fight. Now let's move over to another major story. We finally received a significant health update regarding Ilia Topuria. Since suffering the first loss of his professional career at the UFC White House event, very little information had been released about his recovery. Aside from Topuria's statement promising to return stronger, fans have been left wondering just how serious his injuries really were. Now his coach Jesus Gallo has provided the clearest update yet. Speaking during an interview, Gallo explained that Topuria's recovery has been progressing remarkably well. According to him, day by day he already looks like a completely different person. Honestly, he looks like he wasn't even in a fight. The swelling is gone. The bruising has disappeared. The doctors told us that within 6 to 8 weeks everything should heal properly because there wasn't a displaced fracture. After that, he'll slowly begin wrestling and training again. Realistically, we're probably talking about another 2 or 3 months before everything is completely solid. If we see Ilia fighting again, it will probably be toward the end of the year, maybe around December. That's certainly encouraging news for Topuria and his fans. Considering how severe the damage looked immediately after the fight, many feared he could be sidelined much longer. Now, the possibility of a December return appears very realistic. If he does come back before the end of the year, who would you like to see him fight first? A rematch with Justin Gaethje? A showdown with Arman Tsarukyan? Or perhaps another top contender before challenging for the title again?
You've literally got guys that are making more for an 8-round fight against a guy that I would beat than Sean O'Malley fighting at the White House.
Yeah, he said 600K. He said that on the Full Send podcast.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And those guys need to stop being suppressed. I'm just shocked by the kind of mindset of, oh, well, there's nothing else we can do, really. It is what it is. If we don't do it, we're just going to get benched. We've got to do it, really. I can't understand that. Like, guys like Sean O'Malley, the guy's a superstar. The guy's a phenomenal fighter. He's just been made to feel like, what, and there's a guy fighting on an undercard and like the 4th fight in an 8-round boxing fight that's making more than you. You've just fought at the White House and you've done an incredible performance. You're putting your health on the line. You're the talent. You're the reason this organisation is what it is.
Not everyone believes Topuria will return as the same fighter, however. During a recent appearance on Demetrius Johnson's YouTube channel, Paddy Pimblett shared his opinion on how the defeat could affect Topuria moving forward. According to Paddy, the biggest damage wasn't necessarily physical. He believes the loss may have shattered Topuria's confidence. Pimblett argued that once a fighter loses that aura of invincibility, it can be incredibly difficult to fully regain it. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, but history has shown that some fighters come back stronger after their first loss, while others struggle to recapture the same momentum. During that same interview, Paddy also predicted what he believes Justin Gaethje's next moves will be. Rather than facing Arman Tsarukyan, Pimblett believes Gaethje will pursue blockbuster fights against Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway instead. Finally, Paddy revealed another interesting detail about his own career. According to the Liverpool native, he balloons all the way back up to around 185 pounds just one day after weighing in for his lightweight fights. Because of the massive amount of weight he cuts to reach 155 pounds, and because he says he's still physically growing, Pimblett believes a move to welterweight is becoming increasingly likely. He explained, "I'm still growing. I'm still putting inches of height on and adding size. I think I'll end up fighting at welterweight eventually, because I'm still growing." It'll definitely be interesting to see whether Paddy eventually makes that move as his career continues to evolve. And that's all for today's Fight Update. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Fight Update, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MMA news, fight updates, and breaking stories. Also, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who should Ilia Topuria face when he returns? And do you think Paddy Pimblett eventually becomes a full-time welterweight? Thanks for watching Fight Update, and we'll see you in the next video.